Right, to the markets. Well, the JSE closing just about 0.5% in the red this afternoon. Good showing from the platinum miners, but not enough to bring the all-share into a positive close this afternoon. Gary Booysen is from RandSwiss. He joins us now. Gary, all eyes on what happens with interest rates in the United States later. And the truth is that stocks on the JSE, just given its composition, are less concerned about what happens here locally than they care about what happens with interest rates in the United States. And we can see how stocks respond to the impending move on interest rates in the US.
Absolutely. So the US has still, unfortunately, got the reserve currency of the world. So, what happens to the US dollar affects everything. If you think of a rise in interest rates, that's essentially a rise in the cost of money. So, if you have money, it becomes more valuable. And if you're thinking about doing a big project, or you're buying a house, or whatever you're going to spend your money, you think, whether you're buying stocks, you've got to think a little bit more carefully whether that stock, that property, whatever the investment asset class is going to compensate you when you could just stick it in the bank and get a higher interest rate. So when US interest rates rise, of course, South African, the US dollar becomes relatively more attractive. That generates a weaker currency because people start selling rand. They want to go and buy dollars instead. So what that prompts is obviously the South African Reserve Bank to follow suit. So when the Fed hikes interest rates, the South African Reserve Bank usually follows the same path, and that makes the cost of our money more expensive as well.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens after that decision. So what the all-share around about 0.5% in the red afternoon, this afternoon. Well, let's move on to some company news now. I mean, Dis-Chem out with interim results today in the midst of this controversy over their employment proposals. Firstly, what did you make of the results, Gary?
Yeah, the results are pretty good. So looking at the results, they had guided fairly well. So the adjusted headline earnings per share came in slightly above the midpoint of the guidance at 64.3 cents per share. Their net income also up 22.8% to 5.2 billion. And that was really just an improvement in margins. So, managing to contain costs nicely in a very difficult operating environment. Looking at the headline number, or at least the top line number, so group revenue was up 9.3%. So, doing all the right things. And the company is still very acquisitive and very keen to grow in this market. And it continues its expansion drive, buying 5 more baby boom stores and just aggressively rolling out the Dis-Chem franchise across the country.
Yeah, they'll be speaking to the company's CFO. It will be interesting to get his take on the results, but also, where the controversy over the employment proposals are. That's coming up in the next hour. Let's move on to Pick n Pay, wanting to spread the use of cryptocurrencies for payment. I mean, that's a pretty bold step, and they're pretty confidently pushing this. What do you make of that?
Well, it's definitely interesting. If you look at the program that they've done, they've already trialed it at their head office, just with a single store. And the problem that they came across was that essentially transactions were taking too long to process and were also just too expensive. They say that they've got the transaction time now down to under 30 seconds, and it will probably cost around 70 cents to process through a crypto wallet, and that is a reasonable amount of time. So their partners, Electrum and Crypto Convert, are assisting them with the technology. But essentially, anything with a Lightning-enabled app will be able to transact, and I think it's very, very interesting. It really, I suppose, comes on the back of the Financial Service Conduct Authority decision in October to decide that crypto and Bitcoin, etc., was a financial product. And this is the first, I suppose, application where we're seeing it move into the mainstream. So they're going to be rolling it out to 39 stores with the plan to roll it out nationwide soon. So definitely an interesting development. And I suppose it depends how volatile the cryptocurrency market is, as whether or not this is a useful payment system for their customers.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see how customers swipe or whatever you do with the cryptocurrency. Gary Booysen, thanks very much indeed for talking to us.